Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and this is the companion video. Now, as most of you guys know, every day on the John Campea Show and on Open Mic, we take live questions, but we never have time to get around to all of them. But I want to make sure you guys know that every time you send in one of those questions, they do get answered. So we take all the ones we didn't have time for, and we answer them in this companion video. And I got somebody joining me today helping me out. We got fact checker Jonathan here today helping me out. Jonathan, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks so much for being here and for doing this with us.
You're welcome.
Okay, so why don't you get us started with this thing?
Absolutely. Okay, ZCM Zombie Custom Maps writes, where do you think Wakabi is after Black Panther?
Where is Wakabi? I think he's in prison. I think that's, I mean, look, you can't commit grand, what's the word I'm looking for? Treason.
Treason.
You can't commit grand treason. And you could say, well, wait a minute, he wasn't committing treason because, you know, Killmonger won the challenge. Yes, but as soon as it was seen that T'Challa was still alive, that meant the challenge wasn't over. That meant T'Challa was still king. And when he obeyed Killmonger's orders to go and attack him, he was attacking the king. That made him a traitor. So he's either, I don't know what they do to traitors and treasonous in Wakabi. Or in Wakanda. I got a feeling he's dead maybe, but he's either dead or in prison. So that's how I see it. All right, what's next?
All right, Ben Laurenowicz writes, this might be a spoiler, so keeping it vague. Hulk after Surtur, Hulk in Infinity War. Why the difference in psychological impact?
Ooh, that, you know what? I'm going to say that is a spoiler. Let me just say this. Okay, I'll say this. Remember, Surtur didn't beat Hulk in Thor Ragnarok. He didn't beat him there. So, I mean, just keep that. I can't go into any more details. We're getting into spoiler territory, and this isn't a Infinity War spoiler review, so I got to be really, really careful. But that's just kind of my thoughts on that. All right, what's next?
All right, Rick Keir writes, can't wait for Ant-Man. I have a feeling, though, Hank will die in this one. Keep up the good work.
Ooh, Hank Pym dying in it. See, I don't think so. Because, and here's my theory, completely unbased on anything other than pure speculation. I believe in Avengers 4, you're going to have the greatest minds all come together. There is a lot of speculation that there's going to be time travel in Avengers 4, but there's no time stone. You don't have a time stone. So then you're talking about the quantum realm, I think. And who's the world's foremost expert on the quantum realm? It's Hank Pym. So I believe we're going to see him in Avengers 4, and I think he's going to be playing maybe not a big role, but an important role in Avengers 4. Could be totally wrong. Again, this is not based on any insider information. That's just a guess of mine, but that's where I think we're at. All right, what's next?
Okay, Anthony Ashmask, he writes, even if Infinity War falls short of the Force Awakens opening weekend, you must admit, John, Marvel achieved the unthinkable feat by giving the Force Awakens a run for its money. Regardless, it is a phenomenon.
Well, yeah, and obviously this is one of those questions that came in a couple of days ago, because today we know it didn't just give The Force Awakens a run for its money, it did set the record. It set the brand new record of $257 million. And you know, we all said, I think we all agreed just before the movie came out that if it falls short, it'll fall short by less than 10 million bucks. And if it beats the record, it'll be within 10 million bucks. And sure enough, it beats the record by 9 million bucks. So yeah, it didn't just give it a run for money. It came in there. And you know, honestly, I may have made my final prediction. You guys remember on the show, 3 days before the movie came out, somebody said, final chance, what's your prediction? Will it beat the record? I finally said, yes, it'll beat the record. But for the last year, I really didn't think it was possible. It wasn't until we were getting into the final stages of this movie coming out that I thought, oh, this actually has a chance. And sure enough, it did. Huge props, huge accomplishment for Kevin Feige and the people over there at the MCU and everything. And yeah, I can't see this record being broken anytime soon. I don't even think Avengers 4 will break this record. So we'll have to wait and find out for sure. But I didn't think The Force Awakens record will be broken, and here we are today. So there you are. All right, what's next?
All right, let's watch. He writes, or she, love you, man. No question. Can't wait for the discussion. You're the best, John.
Oh, thanks. He's talking about the Infinity War live discussion that we had. And listen, just for you guys know, I had a whole bunch of people asking me, John, can you do another Infinity War spoiler review live stream? Because we went 2.5 hours with our live stream and we only got halfway through the questions. So I'm putting up part 2 that's going to have all the questions that we didn't get around to, kind of like a companion video. But then tonight, Tuesday, we are doing another Infinity War open spoiler discussion live stream just because so many of you guys asked for it. So that's coming a little bit later tonight. So thanks a lot for bringing that up. Let's watch. All right, what's next?
All right, Sid Vicious writes, is McConaughey dead after the last 4 movies bombed critically, commercially? Strange how McConaughey box office draw didn't increase after Interstellar.
Well, I mean, look, gone are the days that the actor, becomes the thing that draws in the box office. It helps. It certainly helps. But just because Interstellar was a hit, and it didn't make $1 billion or anything like that, so it doesn't mean it's going to propel it any further. You still got to be in movies that people want to see. McConaughey, he was in that one that I thought would be an Oscar contender, the one that revolved around the Civil War. It was a really controversial character that he played, but the movie was terrible. And then he's been in a couple of other roles that just have not hit it out well, that just have not interested the audience. And look, if a movie is not going to interest the audience, the actor starring in it isn't going to change the game and bring in millions of people to go see it. It'll help a little bit, but I think the name of McConaughey, he's been picking some bad projects. Is the McConaughey over? Yes. However, that doesn't mean his career's dead. It means, hey, he's another big Hollywood actor. But him being the hottest name in the business, yeah, that's over at this point. All right, what's next?
Joseph Farala writes, wow, Black Panther will pass Star Wars The Last Jedi worldwide. Crazy.
It is crazy. I mean, we talked about how Black Panther, how ridiculous it seemed. If a couple of years ago we asked, hey, will this Black Panther, a C-level character in comics as far as notoriety goes and how many people actually are aware of him, Black Panther will come out and make more than double of what Justice League with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg will make more than double that. It was impossible to consider. Impossible to consider. That it would beat it, let alone double it. That seemed inconceivable. Inconceivable. But almost as inconceivable was that it would even beat The Last Jedi by $1 million. I mean, that alone seemed inconceivable. Black Panther making $1.3 billion worldwide seemed inconceivable. It's just a highlight of just how successful and how much of a cultural movement this whole movie became. So yeah, full marks to Marvel. And by the way, Marvel has 2 films in the top 5 at the box office. Number 1 with Avengers Infinity War, number 5 with Black Panther. I mean, who would ever thought we'd see that day? All right, what's next?
Okay, Ali Hussein asks, do you think Avengers Infinity War is the darkest MCU movie so far?
As far as tone and consequences, yes. Look, I will still stand by this. People try to argue with me, but I'm sorry, I stand by this. Up until Infinity War, when you talk about the actual things that happen in the movie, Thor Ragnarok was the darkest movie in the MCU. Yes, it had a light tone. But you're talking about Thor losing. By the way, I'm going to go to some spoilers here, Thor Ragnarok, but the movie's finished its theatrical run. It's been out on home video forever. Thor loses an eye. All of the Warriors 3 die. Odin dies. Asgard gets destroyed. It is a dark film. Terrible, horrible things happen in that movie. It kept a very lighter tone, but terrible, horrible things happened. But even that notwithstanding, yeah, both in tone and in actual events, I won't go into what the events are specifically, but both in tone, which Thor Ragnarok was not dark in tone, but Infinity War in tone and in events and consequences, Infinity War, I believe, yes, you can make the argument that it is the darkest MCU movie so far. In my opinion, at least at any rate, I think a lot of people will share that opinion. All right, what's next?
Okay, Anthony adds, also, even if it doesn't break the domestic opening weekend record, Infinity War broke the record for worldwide opening weekend by almost 100 million more. That too, without the help of China and Russia. I'm so happy.
Irrelevant, completely irrelevant. And here's why. The worldwide opening weekend record is a nothing record. It means nothing. And here's why it means nothing. Because every movie opens in a different number of countries when it opens. Some movies open in 5 countries. Some movies open in 70 countries. You can't compare that. There's no comparison to that. That's why when we talk about overall box office, we talk about worldwide. But when we talk about opening weekend, we limit our discussions to North American opening weekend because that's the only way for it to be on an even playing field. It's completely pointless to talk about worldwide opening record when almost every movie opens in a different number of countries. That makes even the discussion of worldwide opening weekend record obsolete and redundant. There's no purpose, no meaning to it whatsoever. Is it great? Yeah, it's great that it made that much money. Absolutely it is. But that'll come in when we start talking about the overall totals. As far as opening weekend goes, it's an irrelevant record. And I think the record before it was the Fast and the Furious, one of the Fast and Furious. But again, even then it was still irrelevant. It's an absolute irrelevant record because it means nothing because every movie opens in a different number of countries every time. So therefore, there's no even playing field. Therefore, there's no comparison. Therefore, there's no point in even talking about it. It's great to say it's a great little factoid. That's nice, but it really doesn't mean anything. Nowhere near as much as it's setting the opening weekend box office record, which is the North American record. That has a lot more meaning than the worldwide thing because it opens in different countries worldwide than other movies. All right, what's next?
Okay, one absent good writes, always respect your opinion and enjoy watching you all the time. I hope one day I get to meet you. That's on my bucket list. Enjoyed Infinity War.
Oh, his. I thought you meant yours, Jonathan. I thought it was on your bucket list to meet me.
Enjoyed Infinity War and can't wait for your spoiler review.
Well, of course, we did the spoiler review last night, but if you missed it, it is online right now. Just go to my main YouTube page on the front page and look under reviews, and you'll see the Infinity War spoiler review. We'll have part 2 going up here pretty soon. That's getting to all the questions we didn't have time for during the live 2.5-hour broadcast. And then we're going to do part 3, which will be another live stream. So keep your eyes, tons to still talk about with Avengers Infinity War. Thanks so much for the note, man. I appreciate that. All right, what's next?
Sheldon Stallworth, he writes, or asks rather, will DCEU ever make a movie like Infinity War with how Warner Brothers have been handling the movies?
Well, I mean, it all depends. What do you mean by will they make a movie like Infinity War? Like what? A movie with action? A movie with consequences? A movie like as good as Infinity War? Like what do you mean by that's the problem. When you say, will they make a movie like it? Well, like it in what way? I can probably think of 20 different ways that they've already made movies like Infinity War. And I can think of about 30 or 40 different ways that they haven't made a movie like Infinity War. But it all depends on what we mean like. Look, there are some people out there who honestly, just because all film is subjective, already think that maybe a couple of DCEU movies are better than Infinity War. I'm not one of them. But I like all the DCU movies. I think Infinity War is probably better than any DCU movie I've seen so far, other than Man of Steel. I like Man of Steel more than I like Infinity War. But again, it all like, what do you mean? It all comes down to definition. What do you mean when you say a movie like Infinity War? 50 different people will describe the movie in 50 different ways. So I can't really narrow it down and try to answer that. You know what I'm saying? So maybe next time you write me or something like that, be a little bit more definitive about what do you mean by, will they make a movie like Infinity War in terms of blank, blank, and blank? So give me a little bit of that next time, and then maybe I can give you a better answer because I'm pretty limited otherwise. I'm limited in the best of times, let alone with that. All right, what's next?
All right, Ollie asks, have you seen Suicide Squad Hell to Pay? If so, thoughts?
I have not watched it yet, but tons of people have been telling me to check it out. And I think either probably tomorrow or the day after, I'm going to finally sit down and watch it. And I will do, I'm late to the boat because it came out a few weeks ago, but I will do a review for Suicide Squad Hell to Pay because I'm hearing nothing but great things about it. I have watched a couple of clips online. I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed. And I don't like the animated stuff. I don't like the animated stuff out of Marvel, and I don't like the animated stuff out of DC. There are a couple of exceptions, like Dark Knight Returns, the Doctor Strange animated one. There are a couple of exceptions, but for the most part, I don't like Marvel or DC's animated stuff. But I will say that I've liked what I've seen. And by the way, the whole Batman Ninja thing, not so good overall. But I have liked what I've seen out of Hell to Pay, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. What's next?
All right, Barana Duran, he writes, Deadline says Disney have called the record for Infinity War with $250 million. John, looks like it's the Marvel bottle they will uncork tomorrow.
The Marvel bottle. That's because we've been talking about how before the record came out and was officially broken, and the official final actuals number was not 250, it's 257, so it actually went up a little bit. We were joking around but it's true that going into this weekend, Disney had a big party room ready to go, and they had 2 sets of champagne bottles. One was, yay, The Force Awakens, our movie, is still the all-time opening weekend box office champion. The other bottle of champagne was for, yay, our movie, Avengers Infinity War, is now the new opening weekend box office champion. Either way, there was a massive party happening in the halls of Disney. And you're right, they happened to unpop the bottle that said, new record, as opposed to unpopping the bottle, still the champion, but they probably drank it all either way. So yes, Disney wins ultimately. All right, what's next?
Okay, Amit Gawas writes, going to see it again, Infinity War, with a friend tomorrow. He didn't know about the movie's plot. I'm excited to see his reaction.
It is almost impossible to imagine, with all the bullshit that came out of Forbes, and even I hear IGN even posted like spoiler stuff before the movie even opened. It's hard to, and with all the trolls out there, it's hard to imagine getting into that movie without any spoilers, let alone without even knowing anything about the plot. So you're right, I would be thrilled. One of my favorite things is going to movies with friends of mine, movies that I like that they haven't seen yet. I get excited about doing that. So I'm really excited for you. That's pretty cool. All right, what's next?
Okay, Curtis Lopez asks, very important question. What Hogwarts house are you?
I am not a Potterhead, although I appreciate the Harry Potter movies post 3. So Harry Potter's 4 and on. And it's funny because I know a lot of people, their favorite Harry Potter film is number 3. It's actually my least favorite out of them. I started to like the Harry Potter films, like really get on board with them around number 4. I have been told, because I was at one of these things where they had the, what's the hat called?
Sorting hat?
The sorting, I was going to call it the shuffling hat. The sorting hat. Where they had the sorting hat. And I was proclaimed as Hufflepuff. So there you go. I am Hufflepuff. Thank you very much. All right, what's next?
Okay, 1215 Hayabusa writes, you say runtime is enough for Infinity War and too convoluted when Lord of the Rings Hobbit were more than 3 hours and had a long range of main characters. Gandalf, Gollum, Frodo.
The number of characters in Lord of the Rings was insignificant compared to the number of main characters in Avengers Infinity War. Because with Avengers Infinity War, you have these characters who have led their own movies or been significant main characters in somebody else's own movie, and now you're coalescing that into one big thing. Like if you want to talk about, what was Boromir's brother's name? Faramir?
Yeah.
So Faramir never had his own movie. There was never an Adventures of Faramir trilogy. And then you brought him as well into Lord of the Rings. You know what I'm saying? There was never, what was the Steward of Gondor's name? It was played by John. The actor who's in Legends of Tomorrow right now. And I'm forgetting the guy's name. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. But anyway, the guy who was their father, the Steward of Gondor, it's not like he had his own movie and he appeared in 4 other movies and then came into Lord of the Rings. It's just a night and day difference. Now, look, I have never said that no movie ever can be 3 hours long, but most movies shouldn't. Lord of the Rings is a rare exception. I do believe had Infinity War gone much over 2.5 hours, you would have lost some people. I really do think that. And it would have started to feel like it was going long. But yeah, it's just, look, we knew that 28 key characters, and that's not even counting the bad guys. 28 key characters was too many. And that the movie was going to suffer a little bit from it. The key was going to be, can the Russo brothers minimize the amount of negativity or the amount of damage that having too many characters in the movie? And the Russo brothers did minimize the damage. They did. It was still a drawback. I felt the weight of that many characters. No characters really got, other than Thanos, no characters got enough screen time. Every character was a little bit underused. But that notwithstanding, they'd made an amazing movie anyway, and they really minimized the effect of too many characters. So yeah, but just trying to compare that to the Lord of the Rings thing is a night and day difference to me, like completely different. All right, what's next?
Okay, Taki75 writes, why all hate X-Men 3? I think it's pretty good.
Well, I mean, that's the beauty of the subjectivity of film. Like, no matter what movie you hate, other people like it. There are other people who like it. No matter what movie you love, there are other people who dislike it. That's the beautiful thing about film. X-Men 3 is probably my least favorite of the movies that start with the words X-Men. It's probably my least favorite, but it has some redeeming qualities. Like that last big battle with the bridge, Magneto bringing the bridge over with all of his evil mutants. Kelsey Grammer's Beast is great. I love Kelsey Grammer's Beast in that movie. There are things done in that movie that are quite good. Still, overall, to me, not so great. It was a bit of a mess to me. But the movie has its fans, like you, but it also has some people who really didn't like it. And like I said, for me, it's not my least favorite of all the X-Men films. It was my least favorite of the films that start with the word X. Like Wolverine, for instance. Well, I guess that starts with X-Men Origins Wolverine. That one I liked less than X-Men 3. I like, no, you know what? I like X-Men Apocalypse less. I like X-Men 3 more than I like X-Men Apocalypse. So there are a couple, but still lower on the scale for me. All right, what's next?
All right, Patrick Key writes, quick question. Would you pay more to see a movie in 2D instead of 3D if the prices were flipped?
Oh my God. Yeah, I would. I don't want to give the theaters any ideas, but I really hate 3D. I do not like putting that tinted film over my eyes and going to watch a movie that way. It's a ridiculous thing. I mean, there are fans of 3D out there, and if you do, that's great. All respect to you. But my opinion of 3D is horrible. I don't like 3D at all. It's a waste. And you know what? Probably yes. I mean, it all depends on how much more. If I had to pay double, no, fine, I'll put the stupid glasses on. But if, a 3D ticket was $12 and a 2D ticket was $14, I'm probably shelling out the extra. What about you, John? Like, what's your thought on the whole 3D? And
if I had to pay more to see it in 2D, I would just wait for the Blu-ray.
There you go. That's another good answer. All right, what's next?
Okay, Patrick adds, saw Infinity War for a second time today. So awesome.
Awesome indeed. All right, what's next?
All right, Matt Hendricks writes, so John, I was wondering, have you seen Cirque du Soleil's Ka, and do you think it would be a good idea for a film adaptation? Thanks.
You know what? I'm embarrassed to say, Ann and I, last night, we went to go see Stomp at the Pantages. It's a great show. You should take Laura sometime if you get the chance. It's so much fun. It's my third or fourth time. I saw them for the first time maybe 11 years ago. I love the Stomp show. It's fantastic. And I think one of the times that I've seen Stomp was in Las Vegas. They had a residency at Planet Hollywood for a while, so I saw them there. And you would think, with the amount that Ann and I go to Vegas, you would think I would have seen it, but I have not. I have not seen, as a matter of fact, I've seen no Cirque du Soleil show in Vegas, and there's 85 of them. And I haven't seen any of them. Because every time I go, I'm always thinking, oh, next trip we're going to go see a show. But then I just love the restaurants and I love to play poker. And then Ann and I just like walking the strip and relaxing in our suite and whatever. And I just never get around to it. But I need to. So no, I haven't seen Ka, and therefore I can't give an opinion about whether or not it would make a good film. Have you seen Ka?
No, I haven't seen Ka. The only Cirque du Soleil I've seen is O, which was based on the water.
Yeah.
I thought that was incredible.
I got to go see more. All right, what's next?
Okay. Dirk Walker writes, does any movie have a real chance at beating Black Panther for number 2 worldwide box office this year behind Infinity War?
Well, the last Jurassic World movie made $1.6 billion. Look, and I don't think Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, I don't think Fallen Kingdom is going to make as much as the first one did. But listen, we all doubted Jurassic World when it came out, the first one. I never thought it was going to make over $1 billion. I certainly didn't think it was going to be, at the time, break the record for the biggest opening weekend in box office history. None of us thought that was going to happen, and yet it did. So I'm officially checking out of the doubting Jurassic World business. I am no longer in the doubting Jurassic World business. I don't think the trailers have been very good. I'm looking forward to the movie, but I'm not super excited about seeing it. But again, the last one broke the record for opening weekend box office. I don't expect that to happen again. And I don't expect to make 1.6, but can it hit 1.3? I think it could. And oh my God, I mean, if Star Wars Solo is as good as it could be, or if it's as bad as it could be, but if it's as good as it could be, you will get so many Star Wars fans, because the people who love Star Wars and say like The Last Jedi are going to be out to see it and support it in spades. People who were not happy with The Last Jedi are going to be, wait, a Star Wars movie I can get on board with again? They're going to flood out to it. So that's possible. But I would say out of all the movies still to come out, the one that has the best shot at toppling Black Panther for number 2 is probably going to be Jurassic World. Somebody wrote into me the other day to say people are underestimating Incredibles 2. That Incredibles 2 could hit $2 billion. Look, the reality is this. The first Incredibles made like $600 million. It'll make more than that, but only 2 Pixar films in history have crossed $1 billion, and both of them barely. It was, oh, you know what? I might be wrong about that. It might be 3. Let me just double check that. Hold a second. Oh, wait a second. Frozen isn't a Pixar film, is it?
Just Disney?
I think it's just Disney. So yeah, only 2 Pixar films have ever broken $1 billion. I think it was Toy Story 3, which did like $1.06 billion, and Finding Dory, which is $1.03 billion. Is Incredibles 2 going to double that? I can't see that happening. I mean, it would be great if it did, but so yeah, I'll stick with Jurassic World for now. Jurassic World. All right, what's next?
Vinny S. Writes, sent my chat before you said no spoilers. Sorry.
No worries, Vinny. Accidents happen. What's next?
All right, Ninjatrocity TV.
What a great name.
Yes. Yo, John, do you think we'll see a Wolverine cameo in Deadpool 2? And do you think there's any hope of Jackman returning as Wolverine?
Okay, well, let's go to the first part there. First of all, I've always thought there's a good chance we could see Hugh Jackman in a cameo, whether it's as Hugh Jackman or as Wolverine. Okay. Then, if you remember about a year ago, Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, and I think Pierce Brosnan. Do you remember this, Jonathan?
Yeah.
They put out a picture of the 3 of them together, right? And so we all started saying, oh, so Jackman. Then, for those of you who might have missed this, last week was Hugh Jackman's son's birthday. So Hugh Jackman was on set somewhere. So he was in his hotel suite, and he's recording just a self-video of himself going, hey, I just want to say happy birthday to one of the greatest, people I know, my son. And he's turning in his chair. And as he's turning in his chair, you start to see his bed in the background. And Ryan Reynolds is in his bed dressed as Deadpool. And Ryan Reynolds starts singing some ridiculous song, which again got because Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are fucking with everybody right now. You totally know they know that if we appear in even the slightest picture together online, people are going to lose their minds. So I think I would put the possibility at over 80%. I would put the over under number of the possibility of Hugh Jackman cameoing either as Wolverine or as just himself as Hugh Jackman at being over 80%. As far as any hope of Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine, all I can say is what Hugh Jackman has said. He's made it pretty clear, definitively he's done. But John, what about that time he said that if Martin, no. He said that if that became a possibility before he made his decision, that maybe he would have considered it, but that was all past tense. So, hey, anything's possible. We've seen stranger things happen, but if we're going by what Hugh Jackman is saying, then nope, doesn't look likely. All right, what's next?
Okay, Tyler Ronalds writes, what are your thoughts about CBS and Viacom Lionsgate merge into corporate entity?
Look, right now, the merging is all the hot thing. However, we're seeing that it's running into some trouble with conflict of interests going around. We're seeing anti-competitive lawsuits being brought against them by the government. For instance, the AT&T supposed takeover of Time Warner with Warner Brothers, right? That could go south really quick. And if that goes south, that may mean bad things for the Fox Disney deal, which is probably still like a year away from being pulled off. That could be bad things for all these. I think there's a lot of things that are going to be dependent on how the cards start to fall. Look, there are situations where it can be a good thing. There are situations where it can be a bad thing. I'm not going to pretend to know all the corporate ins and outs of what's going on with Viacom and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, who knows? We'll just have to sit back and wait and see. All right, what's next?
Koba writes, what about classic movies? If you are born after Citizen Kane, how does Rosebud not get spoiled?
I mean, look, it's one of those things where, at this point, almost everybody knows the spoiler of Sixth Sense. I mean, it's impossible to avoid it. Everybody knows the big spoiler of Planet of the Apes. He's on Earth all along. And almost everybody knows that Rosebud is the sled. I mean, just about everybody knows that. But, I mean, at some point, we were talking about spoilers earlier. At some point, you just got to accept that if a movie's finished the theatrical run, been out on home video for a while, blah, 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 people got to be allowed to talk about it. And yeah, and if you get spoiled for a movie like that, it's hard for me to feel sorry for you because you've probably had 30 years that you could have watched it if you really wanted to. And if you haven't by now, there's nobody's fault but yours at that point. So I don't feel bad for anybody that gets something like that spoiled for them at this point. All right, what's next?
Okay. Kella EQ2 asks, over under 60% that Infinity War has a greater than 65% second weekend drop at box office.
I will take way under that because nothing's opening against it. If anything even remotely substantial was opening against it, I'd say it's a possibility just because it's so front loaded, right? So many people went to go see it in week one. With no competition, I think its second week drop will probably be in the 50% range, which is right where they want it to be. So I think it'll be in the 50% range, no greater than that, because again, nothing until May 18th when Deadpool 2 opens will it really face any stiff competition. I mean, in the following week, it's got like Break In and it's got the Melissa McCarthy comedy, Her Life of the Party.
Right.
That actually looks pretty funny, and that could be half decent little counter program. But even then, that's not going to pose a threat to Infinity War. It's not till May 18th, so I'm going to say it's going to be about a 50% drop. All right, what's next?
Okay, Zom Ruler writes, TV show Entourage predicted Aquaman beat Avatar.
Yeah, well, Entourage predicted a lot of things that never happened. Were you an Entourage fan, Jonathan?
Yes.
I loved that
The
show.
early seasons, even more so than the last maybe 2 seasons, but I loved Entourage.
I'll tell you what, I actually checked out of Entourage in the second to last season, because remember they got into the whole Vinny's addicted to cocaine storyline? Yeah. I watched about 8 episodes of that. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, and every single episode was, Vinny's addicted to cocaine. Yeah, we covered that last week. And he's doing things that are damaging himself in his career. Yeah, we covered that for the last 5 weeks in a row. I eventually just kind of ditched on the show after that, and I never did watch the final season.
The final season wrapped it up nicely. I think even more so than the movie.
Really? Mm-hmm. See, I never watched the final season, but I did go see the movie, which nobody went to go see. And I really liked the movie. I thought the movie was really fun. Yeah. It reminded me of those early seasons. Mm-hmm. But I kind of got off board with it after the whole Vinny cocaine thing. Yeah. It's like, meh. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got Matt Hendricks. Do you think Comic-Con will finally get trailers for Aquaman and Halloween, since they were shown at CinemaCon?
Well, they didn't show a trailer for Aquaman at CinemaCon. They showed footage. They showed some footage. But yes, I fully I fully believe that Warner Brothers will indeed have a trailer for Aquaman either at or before Comic-Con. That's the time to do it, especially with Marvel not being there this year and doing any Hall H presentation. This is a golden opportunity for Warner Brothers to really go full throttle on this, own Comic-Con this year, blast out Shazam, Aquaman. I mean, really go full throttle on that stuff and see where they go. As far as Halloween, I'll be honest with you, I really don't care. I'll watch the movie and I'll judge it appropriately, but I have no excitement for it. I have never liked a single Halloween film, either the originals or the remakes. I know everybody looks at me strange when I say that, but to me, the original Halloween has not aged well. I find it kind of boring, to be honest with you. I know everybody's screeching at me through their computer monitor right now, but so I'm not excited about it. I really don't care. But the Aquaman one, that I care about, and I do think we're going to get a trailer either at or before Comic-Con, hopefully at Comic-Con. All right, what's next?
Okay, Xavier Martinez asks, have you seen the doc Notorious about McGregor?
No, and as far as I'm concerned, McGregor can go to hell. I was a big fan of Conor McGregor after that ridiculous stunt he pulled where he could have killed somebody. And there were women on the bus as well. Granted, UFC women who could kick all of our asses, but still, there's a principle there. That dude could have killed somebody. And he hospitalized people by throwing that damn thing through the bus window, shattered glass, cut up people's faces. I hope that guy, and you guys know, I was a huge Conor McGregor fan. I was cheered for him all the time. I loved watching Conor McGregor fight. To me, he's dead to me. I hope his career is done. I hope he's never allowed to fight in the UFC again. And I will obviously keep watching the UFC, even if he's involved in the UFC again. But I will tell you this right now, I'm not watching any card that he's on. Like, he's just dead to me. What he did was ridiculous. I mean, John Bones Jones is an idiot for doing so much cocaine and doing some really stupid stuff like that. But throwing stuff through glass while people are sitting on the other side of it, he could have killed people. He could have blinded people. He could, for what? Because he wanted attention? Anyway, so no, I haven't seen it, and I'm never going to watch it. Just can't be wasted. My time can't be wasted like that. All right, what's next?
Okay, Wee Ziong writes, Infinity War's opening topped Star Wars 7 in NA and
North America.
North America. And
Black Panther?
Black Panther, I'm guessing, yeah, past Star Wars 8 as all-time number 9 globally. If you were Bob Iger, will you reassess the brand power of Star Wars and MCU in the next decade and maybe give your resources to the MCU?
No. Why? Because of this. You just pointed out the 2 most successful MCU movies. When the MCU puts out 4 movies in a row that all cross $1 billion, then we can talk. But you're talking about like films out of 19 or 20. Like the MCU cranks out a lot of films. And you're right, Black Panther, big hit. Avengers Infinity War, huge hit. Like on grand global scales, huge hit. But, you know, the last 3 Star Wars movies in a row, all of them have crossed $1 billion mark. All of them do. I don't think Solo will cross $1 billion. But there are people yelling at me that it will. I still can't see it happening. But if, let's just go with the if for a second. If Solo does cross $1 billion, which I don't think it will, but if it did, that'll make 4 films in a row. Star Wars films in a row, all of them crossing $1 billion. That's something the MCU is never going to do. The MCU will never do that. So yes, Black Panther, one of the highest grossing MCU films of all time, beat Episode 8, which is great. And Infinity War just beat the opening weekend box office record by like 3%, by about $9 million of The Force Awakens. Great. But that's 2 out of how many films have they had now? 19 or 20, something like that?
It's getting up there.
So, I mean, come back and talk to me about a question like that when the MCU is so consistently successful that they put out 4 movies in a row that all cross $1 billion. When that happens, let's have this conversation again. Until then, now if I'm Bob Iger, I don't question that at all. Because one of the things that Star Wars has endured for 4 decades. Think about that. Star Wars has endured for 4 decades and is still pretty much king of the hill. The MCU has been very hot for 10 years. Will it still be that hot 10 years from now? I don't know. I'm not saying it's not, but let's wait and see. Look, all I know is that it's the track record of consistent success. The MCU hasn't gotten close to Star Wars levels yet. So let's wait and see what happens. I mean, look, if Ant-Man comes out and crosses the $1 billion mark, oh my God. And I love Ant-Man. But if Ant-Man comes out and crosses the $1 billion mark, we got to reassess all of this. I see Ant-Man maybe doing $750 million at the box office. If it crosses $1 billion, might have to revisit this whole thing. Totally have to revisit the whole thing. I love Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. All right, what's next?
Okay, Tolu Elizabeth writes, Marvel end credits are bright, but the end of Infinity War was a black screen and the Avengers theme on piano. Chilling, and the cinema was completely silent.
I'm not quite sure. Let's see. Marvel end credit scenes were bright, but the end of Infinity War was black screen and the Avengers theme on piano, chilling, and so. You know what? I'm not even going to address that, just out of the risk that we may get into things that may be spoilers. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not in agreement with you on that, Tulu, but I can't explain why without getting into some spoiler territory. Sorry about that. All right, what's next?
All right, Darth Praxis. Being an old school Marvel Comics collector, I was stunned at how true to the material Marvel Studios was in Infinity War. New favorite MCU film?
Well, I mean, true to a degree. To a degree, it was true. I mean, but that's the reality of it, right? Like, the best comic book movies do not, like, really stick to the comic stories, right? Like, X-Men Days of Future Past, magnificent film, does not stick anywhere close to the comic book. Civil War, nothing like the Civil War in the comic books, other than some overall themes that were similar. There were certainly some shots that were very similar and themes that were similar to the comic story, but also lots of liberty taken. But that's exactly how it should be. They should take liberties with that stuff because the goal of the filmmaker is not to make a movie that's as close to the comic as possible. The goal of the filmmaker is to make the best movie possible. And that's why you need to take some liberties. So yeah, there were definitely similarities for sure. I don't know that I'd say it's a really true to the source material per se. Similarities, yes. Maybe even more than some other comic book movies, sure. But I wouldn't go so far personally as to say it's so true to the comic book. I wouldn't go that far myself personally. All right, what's next?
All right, Lance Pro 85 writes, can you make a second Avengers spoiler live chat?
We are planning on doing that, so that's going to happen tonight. So keep your eyes open for that. All right, what's next?
Okay, Velushkin. Hey, John. Infinity War. What a high it left you, right? But where's the Lion King news? Haven't heard anything in a while. No teaser anyway. Hope all is well.
I don't know why there's this trend out there that says, we haven't got a trailer. Something's wrong. No, it just means that they know there's no point in putting out a trailer right now. What's the point? Honestly, what would be the point of putting out a Lion King trailer right now? Is it going to help the movie when it comes out in 2019? No. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever. Actually, let me just look up something here really quick. Lion King. Okay. When is the, hold on a second. Release date. What is the Lion King 2000? It's not coming until July. The movie's more than a year away. Why on earth would they have a trailer out right now? What would it do other than waste money? There's no point. And again, even if there was something wrong with the film, that would only encourage them to put out trailers to convince everybody this movie's great. A trailer not coming out is no sign that there's something wrong. It's no sign at all. And so I don't know why there's this. I get these questions all the time. It's like, John, we haven't got a trailer yet for X movie that comes out in 9 months. Do you think, should we be worried? No. Look, that doesn't mean the movie's not going to be great. It doesn't mean the movie's not going to be sucky. Maybe, but there not being a trailer at this point. And what news do we want? The movie's over a year away. What news is there supposed to be? We know when it's coming out. We know who the cast is. They're making the movie. What news are we expecting? We shouldn't get any news, and they shouldn't put out any news for at least another 6, 7, 8, 9 months, in my opinion. So don't worry about it. There's nothing to worry about. Everything's fine at this point. All right, what's next?
Okay, Robert C. writes, so sad that Batman's parents died in Infinity War. Completely unexpected.
I like all that and the fact that Thanos' mother's name was Martha. That shocked me. That was a huge spoiler to me. All right, what's next?
Okay, Zach Milne writes, John, show off that Thanos hot toy when you get it.
So Anne said during the Infinity War spoiler review, one of the viewers wrote in was, said, Anne, give John permission to get that Thanos hot toy. So she said, yeah, he can get it. I got a feeling I just have these warning bells in my head going, it's a trap. It's totally a lie. She says she's good with it, but if I'm not mistaken, I think that Thanos hot toy is like $700, maybe a little bit less. Maybe I'm thinking of the glove itself, but if it's like $300, I'm sure I can get it. But if it's over that, it's one of those things. You guys who are married, you know what I'm talking about. Like the wife says yes, but you got your spidey senses going off saying, no, this is trouble. Something's wrong here. So I'll have to wait and see. I'll have to wait and see, and I'll have to check out the price on that. All right, what's next?
Hardy Buck 4 writes, saw Rampage. Last 30 minutes is pure popcorn fun.
And you know what? It's that last 30 minutes only works if the first hour is as stupid and ridiculous as it is. They set you up with the tone of the movie. It's this ridiculous, just stupid, fun popcorn film. And that's why the ending pays off. If they tried to be serious in the first hour, I don't think the last half hour works. It's a fun little film. It's not a great film. I'm not going to remember it 5 years from now. But you know what? It was a fun movie. It's a good time at the theater. I had a good time with Rampage. All right, what's next?
All right, Sebastian Trujillo writes, box office is a good metric. What about number of tickets sold?
Hard to say because number of tickets sold makes it difficult to evaluate context or circumstances, right? It's one thing to say, hey, this movie sold more tickets than this movie. Yeah, but when that movie came out, tickets were only $2. I mean, so it was a lot easier for everybody and a lot more affordable, a lot more inexpensive for people to go to the movies. When that movie came out, it came out in an era when only about 5 new movies came out in a month, as opposed to today, that 25 new movies come out every month. That era when that movie came out and sold that many tickets came out in an era when there was only 3 television networks on TV to compete for the entertainment time. Now there's 500 networks. Now there's YouTube. Now there's video games and consoles and Xbox and PlayStation and Switch and all this kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, you can go on that, but it removes all context. Talking about box office dollars is a little bit more of a pure thing. Is it a perfect system? No, but it's more of a pure system than, say, trying to go buy tickets, because going by tickets sold, it completely ignores all the other circumstances surrounding it that make it the comparison ill-advised. Going by dollar value, that seems to balance it out a little bit more. Still not perfect, but it balances it out much more than just going by tickets sold. All right, what's next?
Karthik Rao writes, I have seen Infinity War twice, but wanted to see in IMAX.
I still haven't seen it in IMAX. I saw it in AMC Prime, which is my preferred viewing, but I bet in IMAX would look pretty damn cool, so I'll probably try to see it in IMAX too. All right, what's next?
Kella EQ2 writes, ever had a chance to go to an Alamo Drafthouse? If so, what is your opinion of them? One opened near me and has a tower records for movie theaters to me.
Somebody asked me this before. I'll be right up front. I do not like the organization, Alamo Drafthouse. I'm not a fan of their CEO, Tim League. I have my own personal reasons for that I'm not a fan of them, nor do I appreciate them very much. So I'm being forthright with you about an existing bias I have. And I'm not going to go into my reasons why. Those are personal. I will say this, though. If I'm remembering correctly, when I was in Austin, Texas, I believe the theater I went to was an Alamo Drafthouse theater. And despite my bias and my personal feelings, I will say this. It was a very good theater. And it was a very positive experience. And they do some things. I remember when I was working at AMC thinking, man, some of the things Alamo Drafthouse does, they just do it right. And I admire a number of things that they do. Still, you're not going to hear me promoting Alamo Drafthouse. Again, I do not have very positive feelings towards the organization or the CEO. Just being honest with you. But despite that, I will say if the theater I went to, and I'm remembering it right, that was an Alamo Drafthouse, I had a very positive experience. So I'll say that much. All right, what's next?
Okay, Jamie Dawkins asks, over under 50% we find out what Avengers 4 is called before Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Under. I'll take drastically under. I'm not expecting to find out what the title for Avengers 4 is probably till after Comic-Con, maybe even well after Comic-Con. So I will take I'm not going to say it's impossible. Like if you set it at 5%, I'd take the over on 5%. But I think it's unlikely we get a title before Comic-Con. All right.
Jamie asks again, over under 25%, Gamora returns to kill Thanos.
I'll take the under. I'll comfortably take the under on that. What's next?
All right. Jamie asks again, how much time travel in Avengers 4 manipulate past events?
Impossible to say. All right, what's next?
Kella EQ2, over under 60% Avengers 4 title drops before Captain Marvel.
If I'm not mistaken, Captain Marvel comes out just 2 months before Avengers 4. If I'm not mistaken, like 2 months or like 9 weeks or something like that. So I would think they would have a title out by then. So I will take the over 60% on that one.
Okay. Shahid Mirza writes, hey, John, have you seen Dongle 2015? Your thoughts?
I have not, to be honest. I'll be honest with you, I don't get a chance to watch a lot of Bollywood films, so I have not seen that one, no.
Jabin Carter writes, Ant-Man trailer tomorrow seems early for that.
Not completely early. Ant-Man comes out in like 2 months. 2 or 3 months. So no, it's not early for that. Maybe you're thinking about 2019. Maybe you're thinking of Captain Marvel. Ant-Man comes out in like 2.5 months. Actually, let me just bring up the actual... let's see. Ant-Man and the Wasp release date. I believe it's July, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
July 6th. Guys, it's almost May. It comes out in like 9 weeks. And just think about it. We just had Black Panther and Infinity War's in theaters right now. And in just 2 weeks, we're going to get Ant-Man. It's crazy. So no, it is not too soon to get our second trailer for Ant-Man. I think it's on good pace. All right, what's next?
CJ Adams asks, chances that Spider-Man 2 is Miles Morales, not Peter?
Look, I've been hearing this a lot, and we're not going to go into the reasons why. I'll take very, very slim chances on that. All right, what's next?
All right, help me self-help to productivity. I like Brie Larson since 21 Jump Street movie, so I hope she doesn't suck in Captain Marvel, though I was hoping Emily Blunt was Captain Marvel.
Brie Larson's an Academy Award winner. I see no downside to having Brie Larson. And look, Emily Blunt's great, but just because she's great and we saw her in Edge of Tomorrow, she's great in action. She's got to be in everything action-y. I don't feel that way. Look, honestly, I'm not saying which actress I like better, but if I'm thinking Captain Marvel and I had the choice of Emily Blunt, who's an Academy level actress, or Brie Larson, who's actually an Academy winning actress, I'll be honest with you, I probably would have gone for Brie Larson anyway. I think Brie Larson is a better fit, but that's just, don't get me wrong, I totally would have been happy with Emily Blunt getting it as well. But I don't think there's any fear of Academy Award-winning actress Brie Larson, who has not turned in anything other than a stellar performance for the last couple of years, sucking as Captain Marvel. I don't see that happening. So I don't think there's anything to worry about there. All right, what's next?
Curtis Lopez states 9 of 10 biggest opening weekends are Disney films.
Really? Is that? I mean, so you're thinking Star Wars movies, Marvel movies, Jurassic World obviously was the record holder. You know what? Let me pull this up here just to double check. Let me look up the all-time opening weekend box office. Here we go. All-time opening weekends. We've got at number 10, Iron Man 3. So that's Disney. Number 9, Beauty and the Beast, Disney. Number 8, Captain America Civil War, Disney. Number 7, Avengers Age of Ultron, Disney. Number 6, Black Panther, Disney. Number 5, Marvel's The Avengers, Disney. Number 4, Jurassic World, not Disney. Number 3, Star Wars The Last Jedi, Disney. Number 2, The Force Awakens, Disney. Number 1, Avengers Infinity War, Disney. I had not even thought about that, but yep, you're damn right. 9 out of the top 10 opening weekends of all time, oh my gosh, are Disney films. So yeah, there's definitely one roost ruling the coop at this point. All right, what's next?
Okay, Help Me Self-Help writes again, my new rankings for Avengers is 1, Captain America, 2, Thor, 3, Black Panther. Though Captain Marvel, we will see. Captain and Black Panther running side by side was legit.
Oh yeah, and well, I mean, I think you see a glimpse of that in the trailer anyway. There's a shot where Black Panther and Captain America are running side by side into battle. It's a glorious, glorious scene. And yeah, like I said, I don't know that my top 3 are the exact same as yours. I mean, or are you talking rankings as in individual characters? Well, I'm not really sure, but yeah, that scene is pretty damn impressive. And the characters, they've just done such great jobs with these characters that I just love them all so much. All right, what's next?
Okay, Samuel Pollet writes, I'll miss MoviePass, not as a company. I just hoped they'd force theaters to come up with a real competitor service, not that Cinemark one movie deal.
I'll be honest with you, the Cinemark deal is a good deal. Look, when you consider that yesterday on the John Campea show, we did a news story that the average movie ticket price in America has gone up because it's gone up like 30 cents. It's like $9.16 is now the average movie ticket. Where Jonathan and I live, it's like $15 for an average ticket. Like that's not 3D. That's not, if I want to go to an AMC Prime, I'm paying $21, $22. Average ticket is $15. Cinemark has this deal that is a very good deal. You pay $8.99 for a month, right? That gets you 1 free ticket. Plus it gets you 20% off your concession stands. That's valuable. That adds up. Plus you can buy a ticket for a guest at that $8.99 as well. Now understand this. If you lived where we live, buying 2 tickets would cost us $30. With the Cinemark deal, it would cost you about $17, $17 or $18. That already saves you $12. Then, if we spent another like $20 on concession stands, that saves us $4 more right there. So now we're already saving over $20 just for that Cinemark deal. And then, if for the rest of that month, if you want to go back to a movie again, if you're a member and you have that $8.99 a month membership, you get to buy your next ticket for $8.99 as well. And for every movie you go back to for the rest of the month, the more movies you go to, the more money you save. Yeah, it's not that ridiculous $10 for unlimited movies deal, but we all knew that was unsustainable. I'm telling you right now, that Cinemark deal is a good deal. And if I had a Cinemark near me, I'd sign up for it. I totally would. It's sustainable. You're paying reasonable prices for going to the movies. And it's something that the theaters and everybody can still make money off of. It's a good deal. So, and I only think it happened because of the MoviePass debacle. And I think that's one of the good things about MoviePass and Cinemia and stuff like that is that it forced a big movie theater chain like Cinemark to do a deal like this. I hope AMC and Regal follow suit. I really do. All right, what's next?
So Stephen Dillette writes, my local cinema lets customers bring our own food in with us. Tickets are £3. Super cheap too. I live in Scotland. Big fan. Keep up the great work.
I've got to know what the asterisks are to that because I've lived near theaters that had like $4 to see the movie, but there were movies that have been out for like 6 or 7 or 8 weeks. Bringing your own food in is also very questionable because that's the only place movie theaters make money is selling. So I would be interested to know what the asterisks are beside that because that sounds great, but there's a catch. There has to be a catch to that. So without knowing what the catches are, it's hard for me to evaluate. All right, what's next?
All right, Help Me Self-Help writes again. Why Captain Marvel couldn't be this year? I'm sad.
Look, this year we've already got 3 Marvel movies. We got Black Panther, Infinity War, and Ant-Man and the Wasp. And it's not that far off. I mean, Captain Marvel isn't all that far off. So I'm looking forward to Captain Marvel too, but I'll be frank with you. I love Ant-Man. I love Paul Rudd's Ant-Man. So I'm actually looking forward to Ant-Man and the Wasp more than I'm looking forward to Captain Marvel. I really am. So that's just me. All right, what's next?
All right, help me again. Captain Marvel could be greater than Wonder Woman.
Well, I mean, in what way? Like, it could be greater as in it could be a better movie than Wonder Woman? Sure, yeah, it could. Every movie coming out could be a better movie than Wonder Woman, or it could be worse. Don't know. Could it be greater as in more popular? I don't know about that. Wonder Woman is, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the most iconic, important female superhero in the history of heroes. She's one of the most iconic heroes, period. Forget gender. But if you want to specify about gender, no questions asked, it's Wonder Woman. But as far as the quality of the movie goes, there are other superhero movies that are better than Wonder Woman. Captain America could be better than Wonder Woman. It could be worse. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But it's possible. It's totally possible. All right, what's next?
All right, help me. Says one more time, maybe even Superman as well. Who knows? She is the strongest Avenger and in the Marvel Universe. Just hope people don't call her a Mary Sue. I hate that.
I find most people who use the term Mary Sue don't actually understand what Mary Sue means, and they just use it kind of ignorantly. Could she be better than Superman? Superman's Superman for a reason. So let's not get carried away. Superman is Superman, the most iconic hero of all time. He's the godfather of all comic book heroes. He is the greatest of all comic book superheroes. He's Superman. I mean, it's in the name. He's Superman. Could it be better than Man of Steel? Maybe. I mean, it's a tall order, but I don't know. Well, we'll have to wait. She's a very powerful character, but that's just because they write her as powerful. So as same as every other character, they can be as powerful as you want to write them. However powerful the writers want to make them, they can make them. But the question is, will the movie be as good? And that's really the question we're going to have going into it. All right, what's next?
Okay, Hector Jeter. Couldn't think of a question, but for future reference, my last name is pronounced the same way like Derek Jeter. Have a great day, Gio.
You know what? I've gotten questions from Derek before, and I believe I've referred to it as Jeter. I believe I've said Jeter instead of Jeter. I just didn't think it was like the ball player. So now I've learned something. It's Jeter. Okay, thanks for letting me know, Hector. I appreciate that.
All right, and Hector writes again, answering your question the other day, yes, Vegas does have a Prime Theater, but it's only one screen. Is other AMC Prime Theater have more than one Prime screen?
No, even the AMC Burbank 16, which is like one of the busiest and biggest, most successful AMC theaters in the country, that and the Empire 25 in New York, even it only has one Prime screen in it. So it's got one Prime, one IMAX, and 14 other regular theaters. So yeah, so if the AMC theater in Vegas only has the one Prime screen, that's not unusual. Same thing here in Burbank. All right, what's next?
All right, Sierra Sun writes, what a week. Saw Infinity War twice and played through God of War. Both game and movie of the year so far for me. God of War is a must play.
Everybody's been telling me play God of War. You know how Ray came over this weekend?
Yeah.
I meant to have him bring over he said I could borrow his PlayStation 4 because I don't have a PlayStation 4. And I was going to run out and grab God of War because everybody's been telling me online to play it. So I was going to finally play it. I forgot to tell him to bring it. So next time. All right, what's next?
All right. Chris Corcoran writes, if you could have only one Infinity Stone, which one?
Power. I would take, because I wouldn't really know. First of all, I would abuse every other one. I would the Time Stone, forget it. I would abuse the shit out of the Time Stone. So I'd probably just go straight up Power Stone. That's probably be the one. What about you, Jonathan? If you could pick one, which one would you take?
I feel like Power is the safest. I don't want to take anyone's life, so the Soul Stone is out, and I don't. and honestly, yeah, I feel like I would screw everything up with the Time Stone. Like I would be thinking like this is oh perfect. My life is going to go perfect, and then the rest of the world is going to start collapsing. So yeah, I think power is probably the safest. And I mean, then you're almost like Superman. You're just a super strength, you know.
I like it. All right, what's next?
Okay. Kevin Bennett writes, arguing that Marvel still has a villain problem is like saying a friend who lost 200 pounds and runs marathons still has a weight problem.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've never really. Here's what I'll say. One of the traditionally weak things about the MCU has been their use of villains. However, I've never really seen that as a problem per se, because Kevin Feige's always said that that's by design. Feige has made it clear before that their movies are about their heroes. The villains are there to help the hero along the hero's journey, and they really want the focus to be on the heroes. Nowhere is that more evident than, say, like in Thor: The Dark World, where Malekith was really just there to help Thor along his hero's journey, and in other of their films as well. And so we don't end up with very memorable villains, but that's been by design, and you can't really argue with the results. The results have been a very successful, enjoyable film franchise. However, it seems like in the last 2 years or so, they've adopted a little bit of a different philosophy. It seems like Kevin Feige is now going, you know what, we can go a little bit more into our villains. Now that we've established our heroes so much, we can afford a little bit of time to put towards our villains. And then we get a Michael Keaton as Vulture. It was a great villain. We get, I love the Hela villain in Thor Ragnarok. We got Killmonger in Black Panther. And now the best out of any of them, Thanos, in Infinity War. So it seems like they've been changing their philosophy. But even before, I don't think it was they didn't have a villain problem. They just used their villains to highlight their heroes. So then we didn't end up with memorable villains, but that was by design. So, but that's different now. Today it's different because now we got Thanos, and he might be the greatest comic book character, greatest comic book villain that we've ever had in a movie. Perhaps, maybe. It's arguable, but it's at least a discussion. All right, what's next?
All right, Hellboy states, I have no doubt LeBron is the GOAT.
I am a big LeBron fan, and there's a lot of numbers to support LeBron. But LeBron's career is not over yet. If I had to pick right now who is the GOAT, either LeBron or MJ, I still got to go MJ for now. But LeBron's career is not done. I mean, good heavens, he plays on one of the worst teams in the NBA. He plays on one of the worst teams in the NBA. And yet they keep winning. And they keep getting to finals. And they just beat a very game Indiana Pacers team in which in 3 games, LeBron scored 45 or more. And he scored getting triple doubles and all this kind of stuff. He's literally carrying that team on his back. So at the end of it, we might be able to say LeBron is the GOAT, but right now I'll still lean towards MJ personally. All right, what's next?
All right, Murray for us would like you to know, before the open mic show started, I assumed you could post Infinity War spoilers because you had the spoiler discussion. But when your show started, you right away said no spoilers. I, at that point, already sent mine before the IT started. I apologize.
Oh, no problem with that. Yeah. So we did the Avengers or Infinity War spoiler discussion yesterday. Some people misinterpreted that now as like all the John Campea shows, we can talk openly about spoilers about Infinity War. No. Still lots of people who haven't seen the movie. So that's why they can have the choice to watch the Infinity War spoiler review if they wanted to or not. But they need to know that the rest of the shows are still pretty much safe. I'll keep it as safe as I can. I'm sure some things will slip, but we'll keep it as safe as we can. But no problem. I can totally see why you thought that, Murray. No harm, no foul. Don't worry about it. All right, what's next?
All right, Hellboy writes, Logan's death is truly poetic, brought me to tears.
It was a perfect ending to a nearly perfect movie. Logan should have been nominated for Best Picture. To me, it was the best movie of the year. And I loved The Post. And I loved Shape of Water. And I loved all those other films too. Yes, Logan was the best film of the year. And it should have won for Best Film of the Year. I mean, it should have at least been nominated for Best Film. I wouldn't have lost any sleep if it didn't win, but I did lose sleep that it didn't get nominated. Yes, I was super happy they got nominated for Best Screenplay. That was great. But yeah, it was a perfect ending to a nearly perfect movie. I loved it. All right, what's next?
All right, well, Bucky Barnes says, saying Soups beats Gauntlet Thanos shows your bias.
Oh, what an idiot. Yeah, so somebody had asked me the other day, Who do you think wins, Superman or Thanos? And I said, it's Superman. I still think Superman. So this Bucky Barnes saying it shows my bias. Dude, I got half the internet insisting I'm on Marvel's payroll. I mean, like, seriously. And then on the other half of the internet is idiots like you who will come along and say, so what, are you biased because you would say Thanos? So if you say Thanos, you're biased. Or is it just because that's what you actually think? I actually think Superman. That's just my opinion. I am not biased for DC. I'm not biased for Marvel. That's just my opinion. And weak-minded cousin humpers who just can't seem to wrap their head around the idea that other people can have an opinion without there being an ulterior motive is just laughable. And congratulations, you're one of the people who makes the world a worse place. All right, what's next?
Well, Jessica Tennis says, Russo brothers had two choices, the film they made or two films with all the extras everyone is now wanting, and of course, be pissed with two films.
No, the one film. Look, the movie had too many characters, yes. Maybe they could have pared it down a little bit, but they wanted to use every character so far. Okay, that was going to come with drawbacks that they knew. So their job was to minimize the drawbacks as much as they could. And I think they did. I think they succeeded. It still has drawbacks, but they minimized the drawbacks as well as almost any director could have. Maybe Spielberg could have done a better job minimizing it, but not many people could have. I think they did a fantastic job with it the way it is, just stretching it out unnecessarily just so we can get all the characters in there and give them all the time. That's not serving the story. The story is not there to serve the characters. The characters are there to serve the story. So I think they did it the right way. All right, what's next?
All right. Cam Wood writes, over under Avatar 2 reaches $1.5 billion at the box office. Also, classic Belichick in the draft. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, Belichick is an evil genius. No doubt about that. I'm going to take the under. I do think the next Avatar will crack the $1 billion mark. It will join the $1 billion club. But I also think this movie's 5 years too late. Again, it's all going to come down to how good is the movie. Like, the trailers may come out and be the best trailers ever. So I don't hold me to this right now. It's far too early to call. My initial impression is that it won't hit 1.5 billion. But I may change that tune once we see some trailers, once we start to get a feel for the buzz that's out there with everybody, and ultimately how good the movie is. That's what's going to bring people back to the theater if they come back, is how good the movie is. Until we see it, there's no way we can answer that. So for now, I'll say under. All right, what's next?
All right, Ing Apilakitsmai writes, and now we are back to square one. When will they release a trailer for Avengers 4? Joking aside, I really enjoy your show and keep up the good work.
I mean, it's still a fair question. As long as you're not saying, why isn't there one out now? When will they release a trailer? That is actually an interesting question. Because as we said, like, they're running the risk of giving things away for upcoming movies, right? So you do want to be a little bit careful. At what point do you start putting out trailers and risk overshadowing other films you have coming out? I think we're not going to get our first look at our title or trailer for Avengers 4 until late this year. Maybe even around Christmas time. So a little bit later than normal for a traditional Avengers film, I think. But who knows? Anything could happen. All right, what's next?
Curtis Lopez asks, does Star Wars 9 or Avengers 4 have a chance beating the opening weekend record?
It's going to be a tall order. With Star Wars Episode 9, it will greatly depend on how good or bad Solo is. For instance, Star Wars Episode 8 was, before Avengers Infinity War, the number 2 all-time opening weekend champion. It now sits as the number 3 all-time opening weekend champion with $220 million. Force Awakens way ahead of it at 247. Avengers Infinity War a little bit ahead of that at 257. Or Star Wars Force Awakens at 248, and then 257 for Avengers Infinity War. So for Episode 9, look, Avengers Episode 8, which I like quite a bit, did not thrill everybody. I mean, let's just call it what it is. A lot of people weren't happy with it. There you go. A lot of people were. A lot of people weren't. So if Solo can come out and crush, if Solo comes out and crush and gets everybody re-energized for the Star Wars thing again, I'll give Star Wars Episode 8 a 40% chance of cracking that record. I also don't think Avengers 4 will. I don't think you can recapture that lightning in a bottle that they did with the marketing of number 3. I'll give it a 48% chance. So I'll give Avengers 4 a better chance at doing it. I don't think either will. But I do think they both have a chance. I think Avengers 4 a little bit better of a chance in Episode 9. But I ultimately, I don't think either of them will catch Infinity War. But then again, we'll just have to wait and find out. All right, what's next?
Okay, Curtis also asks, better newspaper movie, Spotlight or The Post?
Ooh, I loved The Post. I loved it. But you know what? I love Spotlight more. I thought Spotlight just had a little bit more going on with it. So I loved The Post, but I'm going to go Spotlight. Did you see both of those?
I only saw Spotlight.
What did you think about Spotlight?
I loved it.
It's powerful,
yeah.
right? Like so many good performances in it. Rachel McAdams was great in it. Michael Keaton was great in it.
I would also recommend All the President's Men, though, if you like those.
Oh, that was great. All right, what's next?
Okay, Ash Barion writes, Avengers 4, The Search for Korg.
Well, watch my sport. I've got a theory about Korg, but you'll have to watch my review for that. All right, what's next?
Green Monkey writes, well, just got back from Infinity War. Just wow.
Wow, indeed, is what we're all saying. All right, what's next? Daniel
Quintana, have you considered doing film analysis videos? I'd love to hear your deeper thoughts on films. Thanks, John. You're the best.
Here's the problem with like deeper breakdown analysis films. They're incredibly time consuming. You have to put a lot of work into even preparing them. And I honestly don't think they would be viewed. I don't think they would be viewed all that much. So we're talking about a lot of preparation, a lot of energy, a lot of effort, a lot of manpower resources being put into it. And for videos that I don't think would really do all that well for me. So it becomes a question of bang for your buck. You know, like it's kind of the same thing. Somebody was asking me, hey, John, somebody was asking me, do you think you could take requests from Patreon supporters of old movies to review? I would really love it if you reviewed this movie called Space Samurai, or I can't even remember the name of the movie. And I said, well, here's the problem with that. It would take a number of hours for me to watch the film, prepare a review for it, record the review, edit it, upload it, and post it. And for what? How many people are actually going to watch it? So I have to be when you work as many hours in a day that Jonathan and I both do, and Ray works a whole bunch too, you got to start doing the weight of what's the bang for the buck. What things do we put our energy and effort into that are going to result in videos that people will actually watch? And that's just a constant balance that I have to try to think about and evaluate every single day. So I have not seriously given much thought to doing those types of videos. So I just don't think there's an audience for them to watch them very much, to be honest, compared to how much effort and energy has to go into making them. So there's that. All right, what's next?
Okay, DKid19 writes, it's interesting how Avengers 1 opened at 205, then Age of Ultron at 197, and Civil War at 170, but Infinity War became the highest opening of all time. Didn't see it coming.
Well, I mean, look, when you think about it for a second, though, you really could see it coming. The difference between the bottom of those films, Civil War, and the top of them, the first Avengers, is only $35 million difference between them, right? So they're all kind of in the same neighborhood and ballpark. But what has happened in the MCU since then? We've had the Guardians of the Galaxy added. We've had Doctor Strange added. We've had Black Panther added. And now you're putting all of them with Guardians of the Galaxy, all of them now into it. And the culmination of 10 years of these movies, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Seeing another movie come out that tops that by like another $50 million, you could kind of see it coming. I mean, whether or not it was going to break the record, it was going to be close, it was going to be razor close, but you could see it coming. So I honestly don't think it's that big of a surprise. All right, what's next?
Boy Chow Sung writes, I feel bad for actors who don't ever get to be part of spoiler discussions of their own movies. They must want to talk spoilers with fans too.
I mean, well, you know where you get that? You get that in bonus features on Blu-rays, but that's sadly seems like it's a dying art. But man, I would love to have, I don't know, Chadwick Boseman or Peter Dinklage or Chris Pratt or Zoe Saldana or anybody from the movie in here with us to talk about spoilers from the movie. That would be a lot of fun. So I would let them come. If any MCU actors out there, if you're feeling really bad, you have nobody to talk spoilers with, just give me a call and we'll set something up. All right, what's next?
All right, Luna Comics writes, Groot lifted Thor's new hammer. Does that make Groot worthy?
Can't answer it. Let's move on.
Dom's vibranium bicep. Nah. The man, the myth, that is GC. After asking you a question last week, I see what true pain is. None of my coworkers or friends have seen Infinity War.
And that sucks when you got nobody. When you see a movie like Infinity War and you have nobody to talk to about it with, I think there's a lot of people that are in the same boat as you. It's like, I don't have my friends haven't seen the movie yet. I think that's why a lot of people love tuning in and watching the spoiler discussion that we had. And that's why we went 2.5 hours and only got through half the comments. It was because everybody was dying to talk Infinity War. So I totally understand where you're coming from, Doms. I totally understand. All right, what's next?
Kevin Campbell writes, did you see they may have dropped X-Men for X-Men Dark Phoenix at CinemaCon? So now it's just Dark Phoenix?
I did not see that, and I did not hear that. That's interesting. That is interesting. Titles are meaningless and ultimately doesn't mean squat, but that would be interesting to drop the X-Men from the top. I'm going to have to look into that. I to be honest with you, my ear has been in other directions, mainly something called Infinity War. So I haven't paid close attention to that, but I will look into that because that would be interesting if they did that. All right, what's next?
All right, Akash Kumar asks, despite Infinity War's great opening weekend, do you think there's a chance it will stop just short of Black Panther's domestic box office due to Deadpool and Solo?
It's not a ridiculous question, because let's look at this, okay? So when you're talking about Black Panther, let me just pull up the weekend box office here. Black Panther's domestic box office is $688 million. So you've got what you roughly want to get. Your domestic opening weekend will speak to about a third of what your overall will be. Black Panther exceeded that. So it's in the ballpark. I don't know. 688 is a tall order. I'll say yes, it will catch Black Panther's domestic, but it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be close. All right, what's next?
Brian Onkenbauer. Us at four Midwest guys want to know, over under 10%, that Ant-Man and the Wasp new trailer to mention Infinity War actions. Thanks. Oh, and a big FU to MoviePass. Well,
here's the thing. There is a new Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer coming out today. We know that. And in the promo they put out announcing that a new Ant-Man and Wasp coming out, they said they had all the stars, a bunch of the stars of Infinity War going, where was Ant-Man? Where was Ant-Man? So it almost alludes to that there might be some reference. I don't think much, but I think maybe a little bit. So we'll have to wait and see for what. I mean, who knows? Maybe by the time I actually put this video up, the trailer will have dropped, but we'll just have to wait and see. All right, what's next?
All right, Callum Fadian writes, my bank account was the biggest death in Infinity War. Just pre-ordered the Thanos hot toy.
Oh my God. I mean, look, for not just the Thanos hot toy. Oh my God. Like, have you seen some of the other Infinity War hot toys that they've been promoting?
No.
Oh my God. They look amazing. The Captain America one particularly is like, he's got the Wakandan shield. Yeah. It's like, look, people like me, I got to be really careful, because when I got my first couple of hot toys, right? Sorry, not hot toys. My first couple of pops, I got Sam and Dean Winchester, right? And I think Ray bought them for me, to be honest with you. And I never thought about getting them, but I got them and I really liked them. And then all of a sudden, then before you know it, I had 150 of them, just like that. I have only got 3 or 4 hot toys because I do not let myself buy any more. Because if I start buying a couple, I'm going to get addicted to it. I know I'll get addicted to it. I'll be spending all my money. And then pretty soon, Anne's going to be confiscating my bank card from me. I'm not going to be allowed to buy anything on my own. I got to be very careful. So yeah, you can spend a lot of money on that stuff. All right, what's next?
Okay, Javier Belmer writes, so my friend is soon to watch Infinity War. I recommended her a tune that may or may not appear in it, unbeknownst to her. All I know is that she'll flip.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not quite sure what it is you're talking about. Okay, so my friend is soon to watch Infinity War. I recommend to her a tune that may or may not appear in it, unbeknownst to her. All I know is that she'll flip. No idea what. Did you have any idea what she's talking about?
I mean, there's like that scene where Guardians is introduced. Be careful. But I don't want to say anything. Yeah,
because there's a song there.
Yeah, it's a song. It's not, but like a reference of some sort, a pop culture reference. I don't know.
Sorry, Javier, no idea what we're talking about here. All right, what's next?
Okay, Tom Grokut. Ever seen the classic British comedy Inbetweeners?
I have not, as a matter. Have you seen it?
No.
All right, what's next?
Luna Comics writes again, why do people give Hawkeye crap for using arrows, but Why not Green Arrow when he does the same thing? If some reason Hawkeye is lame and Green Arrow is cool.
I've never heard anybody complaining about Hawkeye being an archer. Maybe you just got the wrong friends, Luna. I've personally never heard anybody giving Hawkeye a hard time for being an archer. That's what he is. He's an archer character. Why people would give him a hard time, I have no idea. But I don't think it's as widespread of a problem as you think, because I've never even heard. Have you ever heard any like big discussions on?
Just like as far as like power sets go.
Well,
you know,
he
like,
has no superpowers.
Yeah,
right?
and I remember like on SNL they did this great sketch where he was out of arrows and he's like, "Well, sorry guys, I don't have any more arrows, so I can't help." But I mean, other than that, he's a great fighter. He's on this like almost the same level, I'd say, as Black Widow as far as fighting.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone toe to toe with Black Widow. I mean, he's almost like they kind of suggest in the first Avengers film that he might even be kind of a mentor to her. So yeah, I've never heard the big complaints about it. All right, what's next?
All right, Shahid Mirza writes, "Thank God for Cineworld card."
Yeah, that look, everything I hear about the Cineworld card, which by the way is a like a MoviePass thing, but in the UK, it's a far superior thing. I wish we had it here. So yeah, thank your lucky stars that you got that, because we don't have anything like that here right now. All right, what's next?
RJ Gomez writes, "Wasp fades away in Ant-Man and Wasp."
I can't talk about it.
Okay, all right. David Obenauer. I thought Jay Gunn said Guardians 3 was Gamora-centric.
I've never heard him say that. Doesn't mean he didn't say it. I don't remember him saying that personally. All right, what's next?
Alt Productions. I use MPass for another film and just walk into Avengers Infinity War.
See, that's cool, except it's dishonest, number one. But the second thing is this. More and more theaters, thank God, are becoming pre-assigned seating theaters. So just walking into another theater is going to become problematic. If you're walking into a sold-out Avengers Infinity War thing, you'll find, hey, there's an empty seat, and sit down, and then some angry dude's going to come around and say, hey, dude, you're sitting in my seat. So that's going to become more and more problematic. All right, what's next?
Talmus Youssef writes, James Gunn via Twitter just said, the name of the new Guardian ship is called the Benatar. Adjusting my brain to get on board for Ant-Man and Wasp.
I don't know if James was being serious about that. I don't know that he was being serious about that. But I mean, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. All right, what's next?
Boromint writes, hey, John, do you think Disney Lucasfilm will start making 2 Star Wars movies per year?
It's possible. I mean, it's possible. Look, we know that we've got the Rian Johnson movies coming. We know that we've got the Game of Thrones guys, the showrunners from Game of Thrones, that they've got movies coming. We know that there's going to be more movies that involve, because we heard Kathleen Kennedy talk about there's going to be more movies that are coming involving Rey and Poe and Finn. So we know those are coming. On top of that, we got the Jon Favreau live action Star Wars show that's coming. The table is set that they could start going to 2 movies a year. I think they should stay to 1 movie a year, personally. Remember, you're talking to a guy who grew up watching them every 3 years and then having to wait 20 years in between. But I think I'd like to see them stick at 1, but maybe 2. And to be honest with you, it does look like they're setting up to do 2 a year. So that's probably coming. All right, what's next?
All right. Mark Carlos would like to know, John, is there a way we can type more than 50 words?
I don't. Oh, if you're talking about, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Best thing is to look up YouTube support and see what it allows and what it doesn't allow. I'm not real well versed on that. It's a good question though. All right, what's next?
And then Mike just continues, so much to talk about, especially Avengers Infinity War.
Oh, no kidding, man. I mean, like, seriously, I knew it would be active, but I thought we could do a 2-hour live discussion about Infinity War spoilers and be fine. We went 2.5 hours and not even halfway through. So, oh my God, there is a lot of my voice is starting to go. There's a lot to talk about. Absolutely. All right, what's next?
All right, Tim Sim writes, Infinity War is amazing and the MCU is definitely on another level. That said, what should other movie studios do to compete with that universe?
Nothing. You should just make movies you want to make. Make movies you want to make and make them as good as you need to be. Look, no matter how successful the MCU is, it won't prevent your film from being successful unless you're opening on the same day, but it won't prevent your film from being successful. Just put out great movies. We see every studio is putting out great movies. Look, we just had A Quiet Place come out. That's not a Disney movie. It's awesome. We just had Ready Player One. That's not an MCU movie. It's awesome. We've had a number of really great films this year. Look, just all studios need to do is do what they do. Make the best movies possible and market them to their audience. And that's all they need to do and not worry about what Disney's doing or what the MCU is doing. All right, and I think the final question of the day.
Yep. S. Fauna wants to know, is Drax only in MCU movies as comedy relief now?
I certainly hope not. Like, one of my big criticisms of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was that you have this character, Drax the Destroyer, that the universe should tremble in fear of, who is genetically put together to kill Thanos. And in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, other than the opening credits scene where they're fighting that big ridiculous monster, other than that opening credits scene, Drax the Destroyer is in no action sequences whatsoever. They keep him out and away and removed from all the action sequences. It's Drax the Destroyer. I really hope moving forward, we get back to a proper Drax. I want to see Drax the Destroyer being the Destroyer. I mean, that's really what I want to see. So hopefully they get back to stuff like that. All right, guys, that will do it for this installment of our companion video. We are now all caught up on everything and all the questions that we didn't get around to in the John Campea Show and Open Mic. I want to thank Jonathan Voico, fact checker Jonathan here, for being here and being a part. This has made it a lot easier for me to do this. Jonathan, hey, if people want to follow you on social media, where can they follow you?
Sure, they can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Sonic if you want it, one word.
And you guys can simply follow me on Twitter, simply at John Campea. That'll do it for me for now, guys. My name's John Campea. Thanks for joining me, and until our next video, bye-bye.